Chakshumilitam jena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vedante Svapadantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. My mind longs for the blessed vision of my Guru. It cries out like a thirsty chikora bird. My thirst is not quenched, and I can find no peace without the vision of that blessed person. O Lord and Master, your face is most beautiful, and the sound of your words impart deep wisdom. It has been so long since this rainbird has had even a glimpse of water. Blessed is that land where you dwell, my dearmost friend and spiritual master. I give myself to you now and forever, O deliverer of my soul. When I could not be with you for just one moment, the dark age of Kali Yuga dawned on me. When will I meet you again, O beloved Lord and Master? I cannot endure the night, and sleep does not come to me without your audience. I will surrender everything to have your darshan once again. It was my extreme good fortune to meet you, O most saintly of all persons, and I will find you again in the eternal home where I am meant to dwell. There I will serve you forever, and I shall never be separated from you for even an instant. I am forever your eternal servant, my beloved Lord and Master. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Hey Krishna, in public places I glorify your mercy, which is granted to even the lowest creatures, and which enables me, even though I am lowborn, to live in this forest of Braj, the place where your great devotees who are filled with pure love aspire to take birth, even as a blade of grass. Having accepted the renounced order of life, my home is this Vrindavan forest. My bed is the soft dust of Vrindavan. The sky of Vrindavan is my blanket, and the flowering creepers of Vrindavan are my only belongings. The moon over Vrindavan is the lamp of my hopes, and my chanting beads are counting the days until I meet the divine couple, Shishi, Radha, and Krishna. Hare Krishna. Dear Prabhus, I'm so happy to be with all of you again. I don't know, it's been some years now, 7 or 8 years or something. But I haven't forgotten you. I have so many wonderful memories here at New Govardhan and in Australia together. I think I first came in 1989. And separation makes the heart grow fonder. So thank you for inviting me back. Today is Akshaya Tritiya. I think you had a Bhagavatam verse for today, but make an exception here. This is a very important day, Akshaya Tritiya. I believe many devotees perhaps are not aware of the special nature of this day, so we'll speak about it this morning. Actually, Akshaya Tritiya appears on our worldwide Vaishnav calendar. And for that very reason alone, we should observe it in one form or another. Actually, that's an injunction. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, by Rupa Goswami, which our beloved Srila Prabhupada translated as Nectar of Devotion in chapter 8, there's a chapter, that chapter's often read by devotees because that chapter is offenses to be avoided. We're certainly making progress in Krishna consciousness, but if we make offenses, that progress is curtailed. So we want to be very diligent. And Nectar Devotion says, quote, one should not fail to observe the various festivals for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like Janmashtami and Rath Yatra. If we don't observe them, it's an offensive mentality. Of course, we have no problem because Krishna consciousness means a festival every day. We don't have a problem with this. But Akshaya Tritiya, it falls actually on the third lunar day of the bright moon in the month of Chaitra. Right now we're in the month of Chaitra. And it's known famously as the day of everlasting prosperity. The day of everlasting prosperity. Actually, in Sanskrit, the word Akshaya has several meanings. It means everlasting, it means eternal, and it means, interestingly, never diminishing. Never diminishing. And I was studying from the astrological point of view that on this day, both the sun and the moon are exalted, and both are simultaneously at their peak of brightness, which happens only once a year. And I woke up this morning, looked out the window, and it was very bright. So this must be exciting. In India, in Bharat, it's generally known as an auspicious day to begin new ventures, like business or investments or construction. And what's really interesting, I've seen it, that in India there's this mad rush to purchase gold on Akshaya Tritiya, because people believe that if they purchase gold on this auspicious day, it will never diminish. The value will never diminish. So I've actually seen people rushing to the gold market and they're buying on this day. Such a wonderful culture to know these deeper truths. However, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our beloved Srila Prabhupada, we observe this day in a different way, of course. We use it to begin perhaps a new service, or reading for the first time, if we're new to Krishna consciousness, one of Srila Prabhupada's books, or learning a new recipe for the first time. Maybe starting a new business to maintain our devotee families or the temple, or as an opportunity to renew our chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. One very nice way to meditate on these days, because we want to absorb ourselves in this special occasion. Holy days like Ekadasi and Janmashtami are mothers of devotion for devotees who respect them properly. This is another quote from Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Holy days like Ekadasi and Janmashtami are the mothers of devotion for devotees who respect them. So each of these holy days has a certain bhav, has a certain essence, a certain emotion to it. So one nice way to meditate or become absorbed and understand the importance of this day is to remember all the spiritual events that began on this day. Remember? You start a new initiative. There's some special blessings, some special kripa, like Shakespeare says. It falleth, mercy, it falleth from heaven like a gentle rain upon the heads of those below. There's special days like that. The combination of the stars or the appearance day of a great devotee or Krishna. There's something special in the air. Love is in the air. And it's true. We take advantage. So on this day, let me tell you, Lord Parasurama appeared. The river Ganges began descending to the earth. And Treta Yuga began. Wow. And what's important for us is that our beloved Srila Prabhupada, he incorporated a society in India called the League of Devotees in Jhansi on the auspicious day of Akshaya Tritiya. The 16th of May, that was I tried to calculate it, 1953. League of Devotees. Also, Srila Viasa began writing Mahabharata on this day. And because it was such a voluminous book, Bharat means India, and Maha means, in that case, it means the greater story of India. And when Srila Vyasadeva was going to write it, it was going to be such a big book, he asked Ganesh to write it down as he spoke it. He would speak it, and Ganesh would do the writing. So Ganesh said, okay, that's fine, but on one condition, that Srila Vyasadeva dictated such a pace that Ganesh would not stop writing. You couldn't stop. If you stop, I'm gone. Keep speaking and I'll keep writing. But this was a dilemma for Srila Vyasadeva because there'd be no break. What if you get writer's block? I write quite often. Sometimes I get writer's block. Nothing's coming. So what happened if that happened to Srila Vyasadeva? Or what he had to answer the call of nature, it's described. So Srila Vyasadeva, of course, is very intelligent. He's a literary incarnation of Krishna. So he agreed on the condition that Ganesh would write down only what he fully understood that Vyasa was dictating to him. Ganesh is very intelligent. Actually, he's one of the personalities who removes the obstacles on the path of devotion. You see in the temples in India, the Ganesh is always above as you're coming in. He removes the obstacles. He gets that power from Lord Nrsingadev. He has these tumili, like antennas, I don't know. And they wrap around the feet of Nrsingadev. So in this way, he gets his power to remove the obstacles. So certainly a very intelligent personality. So he agreed. So, but he had to understand what he was writing down. So Srila Vyasadeva, when he needed time to reflect on his writing or to take a break or answer the call of nature, he would dictate something so deep, so complicated, that Ganesh had to stop and think. Even Ganesh had to stop and think about it for a minute. What does that mean? As per their agreement. And these verses are known as gutas, Ghattas. He would say these little things that Ganesh would go, give me a minute. Okay, fine. Vyasadeva would take a break. They're called Vyasa Gutas. Would you like to hear an example of a Vyasa Gata from Mahabharata? Let's see if you catch it. One who enjoys the objects of samsara will not enjoy them, but one who sacrifices the enjoyment of the objects will indeed enjoy them. Explain. I'm going to take a break. Then he got his break. So for materialistic persons, this day is more in the realm of karma kanda. Of course, that means regulated activity. It's part of the Vedic tradition. Karma kanda. For us, not so. Using an auspicious day for material blessings. And ideally, as we know, devotees don't aspire for material things, for material benedictions. We're satisfied with whatever Krishna provides for us. He knows best what is good for our progress in Krishna consciousness. So we just depend on him. Chetasa sarvakamani, maya sanyasya matpara, buddhi yogam upashrita, machita satadam bhavam. In all activities, just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. This is devoting. He's satisfied with whatever he has. That was nicely demonstrated, as we all know, by Sudama Brahman. He was very, very poor, but a very good devotee. But he never asked Krishna for anything. But eventually he was rewarded with the greatest opulence by the Lord. And this pastime, I discovered, actually took place on Aksaya Tritiya. It was on this day that Sudama, a poor Brahmin, went to Dwarka to meet his childhood friend Krishna. So cool. They were friends. And Krishna was in Dwarka. Krishna left Braj to go to Mathura, and from Mathura he went to Dwarka. And in Dwarka he stayed over 100 years. So in Vrindavan, how long was he there? He left as a young lad, left those poor girls crying, the Braj gopis, went to Mathura. O my Lord, O gracious to the lowly, thou art now living in Mathura. When wilt thou come to me? O darling mine, my heart is burning in pains of separation. Oh, what shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? This was the mood of the gopis, because the residents of Vrindavan, they love Krishna more than anyone's ever been loved before. And Krishna loves the residents of Vrindavan more than anyone's ever been loved before. So if you're very attached to something, and to the degree that you're attached to it, you feel the separation. So who can understand the hearts of the gopis in particular, or all the residents of Vrindavan when Krishna left? So therefore they sang that song. O my Lord, O gracious to the lowly, thou art now living in Mathura. When wilt thou come to me, O darling mine? My heart is burning in separation. Oh, what shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? Oh, what shall I do? This verse was composed by Madhavendra Puri on his deathbed. We want to attain the state, yam yam vapi smaram bhavam. Whatever mentality we have at the moment of death will determine our next destination. So we only have one, Eke Kudanandana. Our only destination is Vaikuntha, but beyond Vaikuntha, Goloka, the topmost planet in the spiritual world. So we're preparing for that moment. Actually, the moment of death, you could say, is the most important moment in our lives, because it determines our next destination, the ultimate destination. So he was saying like that, and he had one kind of a rascal disciple who said, Guru Maharaj, you're a sadhu. Why are you lamenting at the moment of death? We're not supposed to lament. You're supposed to be fully enlightened and cheerful. Why are you lamenting? He didn't understand this vipralamba bhav, this mood of separation. So Madhavendra Puri kicked him out. Out! Hut! We go in India, dog comes. Hut! But there was one devotee, Ishwara Puri, he understood this mood of a spiritual master, and he attended to his needs, and then he left. And as a result, that great devotee became the spiritual master of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not that he needs a spiritual master, but he's setting the example, Ishwara Puri. So the Lord lived in Dwarka, and the residents of Vrindavan were feeling so much separation. That's another class. But Sudama, he just figured, I'm going to go see him. So he went to Dwarka to see Krishna. And he took with him some chipped rice as a gift. Offer me with love a fruit, a flower, a leaf. You can, anything apparently significant becomes significant if you offer it with bhakti, with devotion. Krishna is so kind. So he was very poor. Chipped rice. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when Sudama arrived in Dwarka, he was very shy in front of his old friend. It's so cute. He was shy in front of Krishna because all he had to offer him was some simple chipped rice. He was hiding in a shawl. All emotions are there in Krishna consciousness except envy. So Vishwanath writes, so Krishna smiled at Sudama, hoping that his smile would encourage Sudama to reveal his gift. And Krishna laughed as if to say, Sudama, how long do you think you can hide that very precious gift in your cloth? So Sudama, okay, my friend. And he gave the chipped rice to the Lord. And Vishwanath continues, Krishna was so fond of Sudama that he accepted the chipped rice, completely ignoring its quote-unquote inferior quality, and blessed his friend with unlimited wealth. Not that he wanted it, but, Prabhupada said human society means not to live like cats and dogs. We can have facilities. We can have the necessary facilities to have, a foundation, a peaceful life. So we have time to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. So that's a lesson we hear from time to time. That's not so much the offering we make, but it's the devotion that accompanies it. However, I remember one time in Bombay, because when you speak about a city in the past, if the name is changed, you refer it. Now it's Mumbai, but it used to be Bombay. So when you speak in the past, you use the vernacular, the name of that city. So when Prabhupada was in Bombay, our temple there, one businessman came, we say crorepati. Crorepati means that he's the king of many millions of dollars, let us say, rupees. So he came, and he gave a donation to Prabhupada of 1,000 rupees. Divided by 7, you get the dollars there. And he put it to him, Guruji, I'm giving you 1,000 rupees. And Prabhupada, he said, this is for me, for you and Krishna. So Prabhupada said, Krishna's not looking, sir, how much you've given on the table. He's looking what you're keeping in your back pocket. So of course, it's not the item, it's the devotion. But if you have the means, then give to Krishna. And ultimately, when Atmanivedanam, you have to give everything to Krishna. Because all of them, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. If we surrender our body, minds, and souls to Krishna, Krishna reciprocates with what? He gives his very self. So it takes time. We're all works in progress, but we know who we are, and we know where we're going. Another lesson from this pastime, which took place on this day, is that a pure devotee is satisfied in whatever position he or she is in and never disturbs the Lord for anything, asking only for service. What is that famous in the Dhammadarashtakam? Varam deva moksham na moksham vadimva nachanyam vineham vareshat apiha. O Lord, although you are able to give all kinds of benedictions, I do not pray to you for liberation, nor even eternal life in Vaikuntha, nor any other boon. O Lord, I simply wish that this form of yours, Bala Gopal, Lala, in Vrindavan, may ever be manifest in my heart. For what is the use of me for any other boon besides this? But of course, a devotee may hear that and may ask, but if I serve the Lord selflessly and I don't ask him for anything, how will I be maintained? If I just give my life to service for Krishna and I never ask him for anything, how will I be maintained? And Prabhupada makes a little quip on this. He said, the Lord's arrangement is there for every created being. The ant doesn't work in a factory every day, but the ant gets 1 grain of sugar every day. The Lord's providing for every living entity. The elephant, he doesn't work in the factory. He gets more than 1 grain of sugar. He gets a ton of hay. So Krishna says to his devotee, Yogakshema Mahamyaham. Those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. We have to have faith. Prabhupada said one time, faith, Shraddha, faith, means to put your faith or trust in something sublime. So do we put our trust in this material energy, in this material world, in this material society? Well, it doesn't look like it if you read the news these days. We can put our faith in pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada in our disciplic succession, in our beautiful deities, in our temples. We can put full faith. And how do we know what they're saying? Read Prabhupada's books. So again, we see this as an opportunity. This day, now you know, this day is an opportunity to begin new ventures. And you could say strengthen the commitments we've already made. And in India, they do that in a big way. This is a big day in India. Of course, it's not Janmashtami, it's not Radhastami, but it's celebrated in a big way, in a devotional way. In the Dhams, for example, in Simhachalam, just like Krishna has, he has Vrindavan, he has Mathura, he has Dwarka, Ram has Ram, Jagannath has Puri, this is where they appeared and their worship's going on. Nrsingadev appeared in Ahovalam, and he had his pastimes in different places as well. So one place is Simhachalam, and there the deity of Lord Nrsingadev, massive deity Nrsingadev, he's covered in sandalwood paste all year long because he's so angry. He's very, Jwala means Jwala Nrsinga. He's very angry. And therefore they cover him in, the sandalwood paste is cooling. Actually, sandalwood paste is cooling in the summer, but mystically, Prabhupada said one time, I heard him say, this whole material world is mystical. Really? So sandalwood paste is cooling in the summer, but it's warming in the winter. In the winter, if you put sandalwood paste on, it warms you. It's mystical. Krishna, master of all mystics. This is his energy. So this deity is so angry. Actually, the very first deity of Nrsingadev that came to our movement was one of our sannyasis at that time, Guru Kripa Maharaj. He was traveling in South India in 72 something, and he found a deity of Lakshmi Nrsinga. And Prabhupada had already enlightened us into the mantras. He gave the mantras in 1972 before a Bhagavatam class in Los Angeles. He taught the devotees word by word the Nrsinga mantras that we chant after every arti. So that was there, but there was no deity. So Guru Kripa, in an antique store, he found this deity, and he brought it to Prabhupada, and he said, Prabhupada, can I worship Narasimha? Prabhupada was very grave. He said, this is dangerous, he said, because he's very angry. That's okay. He's not angry at devotees, he's angry at the asuras. But he's angry, but if you make an offense, the reaction is very severe. So Guru Kripa is like, put the deity aside. But Prabhupada said, but you can worship along with Gaura-Nitai. Because Gaura-Nitai are very compassionate. They don't accept offenses. Gaura-Nitai don't accept offenses. I don't know if anyone accepts offenses, but they don't consider offenses. They only accept our devotion. Momaha Madanaya Krishna Prem Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Go. That verse was composed, it came from the heart through the lotus mouth of Rupa Goswami when he first saw Lord Chaitanya for the first time in Ramkeli. Who is this personality? I know who he is. He was bluish black like a monsoon cloud in Dwapara Yuga. He's now appeared in this age in a golden form, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's distributing Braj Bhakti to the Malechas and the Yavanas. Braj Bhakti is the highest understanding of love of God. He's giving to the people, what is this incarnation? Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada said, Gaura-Nitai are very merciful. So if you can worship Nrsingadev, if you worship along with Gaura-Nitai, which Guru Kripa did. This deity is very amazing, and he has two Gaura-Nitai deities still worshiping. For 50 more years he's been worshiping. So with that understanding, so we have to be cautious, a little cautious with Nrsingadev. So this deity, he's so ferocious that he's just covered, he's like, you can't see his form. It's just like this, like you see a Shiva Lingam, just like that. It's the sandalwood paste. Where's Nrsinga? He's in there, watch out. But on this day of Aksaya Tritiya, the sandalwood paste is removed. Like the curtain opens, Govardhana, oh, Nrsingadev. And Abhishek's performed. And the people come by the hundreds of thousands. It's on my bucket list. It's so crowded. You just get a peep. Well, that's enough, right? To get the glance of the Lord. Lord Shiva, he's just begging in Radhakripa Kataksha. Kavacha. He's begging, just get one glance of Srimati Radharani. That's all that's required. So you get a little peek. Darshan means not that you see the Lord. What's the importance of coming before the Lord in his Archavigraha? He sees you. You're looking at him, oh, here, you very high standard of worship in this temple. Very high standard of puja. People of different parts of the world, they remark of your deity seva here. Very beautiful. So we come, oh, Krishna is so beautiful. And we go away, but we should stay as long as possible in front of the deities, because Krishna is also looking at you, and look how he is. He's in a very benevolent way looking at you. Look at Radharani's smile. They're blessing you. So when it's a cold day and the sun comes out, you stand, like in Russia, I remember in 1980s, I'd go there, be freezing cold. The next day the sun would come out. People would actually go out and take off their shirts, the men, and their sweaters, and just, it's still cold, but the sun's there. So they just stay as long as possible to get the sunshine. So we're in front of the sunshine of Krishna's smile, his mercy. We should bask in his presence, because we can hardly understand yet, but so much mercy is coming there. So people, they fight in front of that deity, I've heard. They fight. Me, look at me. And that same evening, the deity is again covered by sandalwood paste. That's today. I think next year I'll be there. So Jagannath Puri, how do they celebrate Aksaya Tritiya? Well, each year Rath Yatra Festival is celebrated in Puri, the great Rath Yatra Festival. And 3 chariots are made for Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. They make them new every year. Those massive chariots, they make them new. And they start today. You know how big those chariots, you've seen the photos, right? Today is the day they go to the forest, and it's a particular type of tree, and it has to have a certain look to it or feel to it. And you have to get the confirmations of the sadhus living in that van, in that forest, if there's something mystical about this tree. Then they cut it down. And then they make the deities from those trees. That search is on today. Wow, you could meditate that on all day, how they're looking for the log to make Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. I wonder if they found it yet. Instead of listening what's happening in the Middle East. So in Ramuna, there's the temple of Kiratora Gopinath. Most of you know that pastime. And on this day, the deities of Kiratora Gopinath are also smeared with sandalwood pulp today. And that tradition has been followed since the time of Madhavinda Puri. Madhavinda Puri was the one who first introduced the understanding of Braj Bhakti, or the love of the residents of Vrindavan, where it's actually like Vaikuntha, the spiritual world with unlimited planets. It's called Vaikuntha, means a place where there's no anxiety. And the mood of worshiping Krishna there is very nice, because variety is the spice of life. They worship Krishna in awe and reverence. Sir, yes, sir. Like this in the military, you had to address our superior officer. Sir, yes, sir. If you just said yes, sir, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So reverence, awe and reverence. So in the spiritual world, they worship Krishna like a king. Who wouldn't want to live under the jurisdiction of a very pious king? You don't see that like Ram in Treta Yuga. No. So they worship Krishna in that mood. They love that mood. Krishna has so many thousands of wives, and the subjects are very happy, and they get to see Krishna walking out. But in Vrindavan, it's called the playground of God. The first time I heard that, the playground of God? Yes, because he wrestles with his friends. He dances with the gopis under the autumn moonlight for a day of Brahma. He's present as a child for Nanda and Yashoda. All those are very intimate relationships. Beyond just worshiping someone as the king, Krishna is your best friend, Krishna is your lover, like that. So that concept of deeper understanding of relationships with Krishna, that was introduced by Madhavinda Puri. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, and he broke open the storehouse of love of Godhead and asked the 6 Goswamis to go through all the Vedic literatures and prove it. That Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and one can have many types of relationships with him, not just master and servant. So the Goswamis, they received that instruction. They went to Vrindavan. They wrote books on the science of Krishna consciousness. I know how many books there were because Prabhupada, when he traveled, he would take all those books by the six, Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and to some degree Raghunath Bhatt. He would travel with those books in a big suitcase because they didn't have computers in those days. But Prabhupada's qualification, he said, I'm not inventing anything new. I'm presenting this Vedic literature as it is. I don't add it, don't subtract. So I saw sometimes, because I had the occasion to travel with Prabhupada, he'd have all these books open around him, and he'd be in his dictaphone. And he'd look at the book and he'd check. Prabhupada said, Krishna consciousness is authorized. And when we flew, I had the opportunity to fly with Prabhupada from New York to London in 1971. And when we got to the Heathrow airport, the bag was missing. The bag was missing. So there were 3 or 4 of us. And so Prabhupada said, someone has to stay behind and get that suitcase. I have to admit, I hid behind a pillar. So Prabhupada said, that boy, Indradyumna? No. I went, no. He can stay. So I stayed. 2 hours later, that suitcase came. I knew what it was, so I couldn't curse it. Because I heard the Beatles were going to be at the temple. I mean, I'm not a pure devotee. I heard the Beatles were going to be there. And I heard Yamuna was going to be cooking. Yamuna, for me, she is a goddess. Yamuna, bless her soul. She wrote that, her cookbook, what's it called? Yeah, that is that big cookbook. It should be in every family's kitchen, and we should cook with that cookbook because that's our tradition. So I heard she was cooking the feast. Oh no, I'm gonna miss the Beatles, and of course Prabhupada's class, and the kirtan, the reception. Oh, I know. And that bag came, and I was young, strong boy. I was 19. I had to drag that suitcase through custom. What's in there? Books. His man said, you don't look very interested. Now I'm interested. So I dragged it to the taxi and put it in the taxi and got in. You know, I was tired. It was a long flight. And I hadn't eaten. And the taxi driver said, what's wrong with you, young man? Did you get out of the wrong side of the bed this morning? I said, leave me alone. I said, it's the books. The books? Anyway, we got to Seven Bury Place, where was our new temple there, Seven Bury Place. And deities had been installed recently. And then I came in I opened the door, and then everyone's having prasadam. But the thing is that the plates, you know, when you finish your plate, sometimes there's the finger marks through the ghee on the plate. You can tell someone's like taking every life. I said, is there any prasadam? Who are you? So I'm just a devotee. I came from America, served Prabhupada in Europe. Nope, nothing left. And you missed the best feast ever. Yamuna cooked it. Thanks, guys. And I said, look, this is Prabhupada's suitcase. Where's his room? He said, 4 stories up. So I said, please, can some of you guys help me? Oh, I'm so full. I had 16 gulab jamun. And I dragged it, you know, like, and then I got to the floor and I saw this brass plate. It said, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So that was Prabhupada's room. So then I thought, okay, I'll go in. But, you know, I was tired, young, and instead of knocking and waiting for an answer and going in, I just opened the door and started walking, dragging the suitcase in backwards. Suddenly, Prabhupada's servant, Nanda Kumari, said, hey, watch out, you're going to bump into Prabhupada. So I turned around, and there was Prabhupada right there. And I froze. Prabhupada, he smiled, but he was only in a Aksaya. He's just in a Aksaya. He was on his way to take a massage, and he had this pink and white. It's very clear in my a pink and white gown, but he was glowing like the sun. He was glowing, and I just went down and Namo Om Vishnu Padaya, shivering in fear, and his feet were right there. All of a sudden, whack on my back. He slapped me so hard, and he said something. And I thought, if I ever get a tattoo, it's going to be that hand. I'm not into tattoos, but it's okay. So then Prabhupada said something, and then his lotus feet turned away. But I was scared because I thought I was being chastised because improper. You knock and you come in. But then I stood up, and Nandu Kumar, Prabhupada's servant, he was like this. I said, what happened? He said, Prabhupada slapped you on the back in firm appreciation. Oh, really? He said, he slapped him. He said, I never saw him do that before. I said, yeah, I know. I said, what did he say? Would you like to hear what he said? Yeah. He said to me, so much endeavor in this material world, but when I take you back to Godhead, everything will be easy and sublime. So much endeavor in the material world, but when I take you back to Godhead, everything will be easy and sublime. We understand that when Prabhupada would say, give an instruction or blessing to one disciple, it's actually meant for all disciples. So we should think like that. There's so much endeavor, and we're taking on extra endeavor, aren't we, to push on his Sankirtan movement, as if there's not enough struggle in this world. We're taking it upon ourselves to take on more struggle for him. So, but the benefit will be that Prabhupada promised to take us back home, back to Godhead. So whenever I'm in difficulty, like, there's opposition to the preaching, the governments, or the skinheads come, or, we just go through it all because we know that Prabhupada's, we're on the way back home, back to Godhead. So that was a nice blessing. I'm not exactly sure I got off on that tangent. We were discussing how they observe this special day in holy places. So in northern India, there's as high as you can go in the Himalayas. There's Badrinath, Kedarnath, Gangotri, and Yamunotri, very holy places. So most of the year, those holy places are just covered with ice and snow. And the pujaris, as the winter starts, they leave an offering before the deities. They light a little lamp, and they leave for many, many months. And when they come back, they lock it up. The prasad's gone, and the lamp's still burning, because it's understood that Lord Brahma and the demigods, they come and take care of the deities during that winter season. It's mystical. There's so many mystical things in Krishna consciousness. If you seek and ye shall find these confirmations. The flame is still burning after months. It's just a ghee wick. It's still burning because Brahma comes and tends to the deities. So on this day of Aksaya Tritiya, the shrines are opened. And thousands of people make that journey from the plains of India up to the top of the Himalayas, and they open the doors. There's Badrinath, there's Shiva and Kedarnath, there's Gangotri, the source of the Ganges, Yamunotri. So that's today also. Wow, give this day a big round of applause. But perhaps this day is best known for Akshaya Patra. Akshaya Patra. This is the day, the very day that Draupadi was gifted with a mystic pot. This is a mystic day, right? By a mystic pot by the sun god that could feed unlimited persons until she herself had taken prasad. It's famous. I think most of you know that the five Pandava brothers, Yudhishthir, Bhim, Nakul, and Sahadev, They'd been banished for 12 years. It's a long story, but they were banished to the forest for 12 years and they had to live incognito. They had to live in such a way that, none of the Kauravas could find them. But Krishna took care. One day, a great sage, Durvasa Muni, with 60,000 disciples, he came to where they were in the forest. The 60,000 disciples. Now, Vedic tradition is when a sadhu with his followers or students or disciples come visit the home of a grihastra, and they were grihasthas because they were all married to Draupadi. You have to feed them. And in turn, the sadhu would reward the grihastras by giving them blessings. But here was Durvasa Muni with 60,000 disciples. And he's coming, in front of Draupadi and her husbands and so forth. So he's expecting to have something to eat. And ordinarily that wouldn't be a problem because Draupadi, as mentioned, she had this benediction from the sun god. He gave her that magic plate. But the nature of the plate was that it could feed as many people as Draupadi wanted until she had taken prasadam and washed the plate. Then the potency would only come back the next sunrise. So that day she'd eaten from the plate. And there's 60,000 hungry brahmacharis there. And Durvasa Muni, he can give big blessings, he can give big curses too. So they were getting a little nervous. Actually, the sun god, he actually technically gave that magic plate, or pot, you could say, it's actually like a pot, Akshaya Patra. He gave that pot to Yudhishthira, who gave it to Draupadi. That's described in Mahabharata, Vana Parvat, section 3. Palam mula misham shakyam shanshvikram yam mahanyase chatur vidam tadad nadyam kayam te bhavishyati. He said to the king, the sun god, this pot, you can cook for as many people as you want, but then when you eat, it's finished from the pot. So he said to the king, O king, accept this copper vessel which I give to you. O you of excellent vows, as long as Panchali, Draupadi, will have this vessel without taking its contents of fruits, roots, and vegetables and grains. These 4 kinds of foodstuffs shall from this day be on inexhaustible, as long as she doesn't take from it. But the problem was, when Durvasa Muni arrived that afternoon, she'd already eaten. He's insisting, we're hungry. My 60,000, look at these boys. They're a bit skinny. They're brahmacharis. They're hungry. Prasad. So Draupadi, she's getting all nervous and wondering what to do. So she turned to Yudhishthira. What do we do? So Yudhishthira thought very quickly. And he requested, yes, we'll feed you. He's just buying time, we say in English. He's buying time. We'll feed you. Just you should take a bath first, because you've been traveling. So take a bath in nearby river, and we'll get the prasadam together. They're forest dwellers. They're eating roots and berries, except when she cooks. So Durvasa and his disciples had left to bathe. And Yudhishthira met with his brothers and Draupadi. And Draupadi clarified the situation. She said, Yudhishthira, I have not only eaten of the magic plate, but I've also washed the magic plate. Until the rising of tomorrow's sun, the plate will not produce any more food. What do we do? So Yudhishthira is described in Mahabharata, always the surrendered devotee. Like people have certain epithets attached to them. You're the CEO of this company, or you have this particular title. He's always referred to in Mahabharata in that way, that special way. Always the surrendered devotee. He said to Draupadi, just pray to Krishna. Just pray to Krishna. So Draupadi immediately folded her hands and composed within her mind a very beautiful prayer. At first, not asking for anything, just glorifying Krishna, then asking for help. And that's our etiquette. Before we ask a blessing or some mercy or something from an exalted person, we first offer them a beautiful prayer, glorifying them, and then we make our request. So at that time, she's praying, Krishna, help, 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 Krishna, help, what do we do? So it's really interesting. At that time, the Lord was in Dwarka, resting in a lounge chair with Rukmini. But because of the nature of Draupadi's love, the acharyas say that Krishna arrived from Dwarka into that forest in a matter of seconds. He arrived, this was taking place in Kamyavan. Krishna arrived in 3 seconds. What? Sometimes is the Lord hearing my prayers? Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that someone asked Bhaktivinoda Thakur the question, Thakur, if we pray to the saints and sages in the days of yore, like Agastya Muni or Vasishta Muni, do they hear our prayers? It's an interesting question. You pray to these great saints and sages of days of yore, or just let us say in our sampradaya, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Prabhupada, Gorkishore, Vishwanath, if we prayed, it's such a long time ago, do they hear us? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, yes, they hear your prayers. Even though it's millennia, time has passed. Then he paused and he said, and they reciprocate. And when I read that, I felt fully satisfied. Prabhupada's hearing me. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is hearing me. Vasishta Muni, I don't know what to pray to for Vasishta Muni. Be some renunciation or whatever. They hear. This is Krishna consciousness. We have to have this faith. One time, one of my godsisters, she said to Prabhupada, this is the very beginning, 1970, is it true that the God Almighty is a little boy? And he wears a peacock feather, Prabhupada? And he's blue? And he wears ankle bells? And he dances with young girls under the moonlight, and he rests. She was really sincere. She had a Christian background. Is it true? So Prabhupada, he lowered his head and he paused. And he said, my dear spiritual daughter, do you think I would cheat you? She said, she blushed. She said, no, you wouldn't cheat. It's all beyond our understanding, but we have Krishna's representative. So she was a very nice disciple. She said, no, Prabhupada, you wouldn't cheat me. She accepted like that. So here's Draupadi. She's in the middle of the forest, about to be cursed by Durvasana. She's praying to Krishna in Dwarka, and he arrived in Kamyavan in 3 seconds, Mahabharata says. Her love was so pure, and her situation was so desperate, she came in 3 seconds. So we can also pray and have faith that Krishna's there if we need him. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Krishna came so quickly that he was disheveled. I've never seen a picture of Krishna disheveled. He's always pakka, right? He's like this. He's always like this. I've never seen a painting or his hair's, on his, But he came so quickly that his hair was like this, his dress was all messed up. Vishwanath said he didn't even dress properly, and his forehead was covered with perspiration. Draupadi, you called? I love it. We're all so careful, right? We're coming to the temple, everyone's going to see us for Guru Puja, like this. Krishna, out of love, he just ran and said, yes? Draupadi, wow. Vishnu says that all formalities are cast to the side for devotees begging for mercy. Oh. When we're actually calling out from the heart, those moments, there's some moment of desperation because life throws so many things at you. We're calling it to Krishna, so before the prayer, I should be clean and I should be probably, no. All formalities are cast to the side for devotees who are begging for mercy. Krishna didn't come formally as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He came as a disheveled, personality to save her. So Krishna said, yes, Draupadi, you've called? And she explained the situation, how Viasa came with 60,000 disciples for prasadam. The plate wasn't ready, or it was already used. And then Krishna said, Draupadi, bring me the plate. But Krishna no longer has, but bring me the plate. And by some divine arrangement, by his arrangement, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme. Although she had washed the plate, there was one tiny little grain of rice somewhere underneath the lip of the plate. And Krishna found it and ate it. It's described with greed, with lolium. Krishna was thinking, my devotee has cooked this out of love, so I will eat out of love. If you cook out of love, Krishna will accept out of love. To the degree that we surrender, he reciprocates with us. So we want to love him, so we have to, we're like babies imitating. But practice makes perfect. That's sadhan bhakti. We don't have that exalted devotion. We have some devotion. So it's step by step by step. But practice makes perfect. All those Olympic stars who get gold medals, it looks so easy when they're running down the track, but there's hours and weeks and years of practice. So for us to come to the point of, oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years and more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. I'm feeling all vacant in the world. We can get there, but every day, 16 rounds. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So Vishnu said he ate with lolium greed, and Krishna thought, my devotee has cooked this out of love, I will accept it out of love. Now the amazing thing that happened when Krishna ate that grain of rice, because he is in the heart of all created beings, he's the soul of souls, suddenly Durvasa Muni and the 60,000 sages, they felt like they just ate a Sunday feast and more. Because Krishna's in the heart. So Krishna arranged for them to feel like bloated. And they're thinking, if we go back and they've cooked all that food and we don't eat it, that's our offense. So they left. They all left immediately. Krishna saved the day. Haribol. So Vishnu, he says there's 3 lessons to be learned from this pastime from Mahabharata, Akshaya Patra. Number 1, Krishna is always ready to protect his devotees. Number 2, he is satisfied with whatever is offered to him in pure devotion, even a grain of rice. And everyone is satisfied when he is satisfied. And what happened to the pot? I always wondered, where's that pot? And I found out where the pot is. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to add it to my collection of antiques. No, the pot eventually came under the custody of the jurisdiction of Sri Madhvacharya. Yeah. He's the Acharya in the Madhva Sampradaya. We're in the same Sampradaya, Madhva Sampradaya. It's in the Sri Krishna Mut monastery in Udupi. And on this day of Aksaya Tritiya, the pot is elaborately worshipped and prasad is distributed throughout the day. They bring the pot out. I don't think it's Kali Yuga. Maybe it's retired. Draupadi's not there to make it work like the sun god asked. But the pot's there, and in that mood, they do artik to the pot. Can you imagine some tourist comes to Udupi and he sees these sadhus worshiping this pot. Like, what are you guys doing? It's a long story. But last but not least, I'm keeping you from eating actually. Last but not least, this day has special significance in Braj. So we should connect it because we want to be Braj Basis. So on this day, there's a big festival in Nandagram. I tried to go there one time, but because it's also the season of marriages. There were so many marriages going on this day because that's also a new endeavor, taking up a new task. So many couples desire to get married. I couldn't get there because all the taxis were booked up. But this festival is of a special nature. In Nandagram, of course, that's where Krishna lived. Sri Radha, she lives in Varshana, and Krishna lives in Nandagram. So this festival celebrates the lake called Pavana Sarovara. Celebrates a lake called Pavana Sarovara? Well, I'll summarize for you. But when Nanda Maharaj established his residence in Nandagram, he excavated a lake, and it became known as Nanda Sarovara. Sarovara means lake, so they named it after him. There's a mountain, so he built his palace and excavated a lake, and he called it Nanda Sarovara. So he and his family and other Brajabasis, they would bathe in that lake. And usually he and his family would bathe on one end, and this is an interesting detail, love's in the details. Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Sri Radha and her family, they would come and bathe at the other end of the lake. So it's an important lake. Nanda Baba, he's bathing, and then there's Vrishabhanu and Kirtida, they're bathing opposite sides of the lake. And I was reading, actually the Braj Basis told me, that lake, it's a special lake because Radha and Krishna used to swim underwater in the middle of the lake to have their underwater pastimes. It's called Jal Keli. Keli means pastimes, Jal means water. So Jal Keli, boating pastimes, bathing pastimes, it's all Jal, it's all water. So one pastime of Radha and Krishna is they swim underwater and have pastimes underwater. Anyway, it's just a detail, but it's interesting. So one day at Nanda Sarovara, little Krishna saw that Mother Yasoda was making some very strange types of prasadam. Not the usual rice, dal, sabji, chapati she would make for him daily. Rather, she was making fried dal, little fried noodles, and little cracker things. We called it mutri in Vrindavan. Mutri, like, you want a snack, so you fry a little something, big meal. So mutri. In Vrindavan, we have these little snacks, we call them. And she was cooking many fried things. So Krishna came and he asked, Maya, what kind of funny prasadam are you making today? She replied to her described darling son, Lala, today your Baba, your father is going on pilgrimage. He's going to leave and go on pilgrimage. So I'm making all these little fried things so they'll last several days and he can eat them along the way. So Krishna said, Maya, where's my father going? She replied, Lala, your father is going to Prayag. Krishna said, why is that, mother? She replied, Lala, I'm busy cooking and you're asking too many questions. Go ask your father why he's going to Prayag. So Krishna, he went to his father and he pulled on his cloth. Papa, he said, Pita, where are you going? So Nanda Maharaj smiled, it's described at the beautiful face of his inquisitive son, and replied, I'm going to Prayag, Lala. Krishna said, where is that, father? Nanda Maharaj said, Lala, it's far away, it's a very sacred place where the Ganga, the Jamuna, and the Saraswati join together. I'm going to go take bath there. For it's auspicious to take bath in those rivers, and there's the Sangam where they're all coming together in Prayag, Ganga, Jamuna, Saraswati. I'm going to go there. So Krishna said, but father, today's not a very auspicious day to start the journey. You should go tomorrow on Aksaya Tritiya, right? Haribol, you begin a journey. Like I came here today. The best day to come. So you should go tomorrow. It's a very auspicious day to start your journey. So Maharaj Nanda said, oh, Lala, since you're asking, I'll go tomorrow. So the next morning, Nanda Maharaj got up very early to take his bath in Nanda Sarovara. When he got there, he saw some big man, some important-looking man, like a king or something, rolling in the dust of Braja and laughing. Ho, 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 ha, ha, ha. Then he would get up and bathe in Nanda Sarovara. Then he would come out again and roll in the Braj dust. This is what we do because it's one of the 5 personalities who grants eternal residence in Vrindavan. When you go, you have to roll in the dust. So then he would get out and bathe in the lake and roll in this. And Nanda Maharaj had never seen a person like that in Nandagram. So he'd say, Maharaj, he addressed him, who are you? And what, you want to hear the reply? The man said, Lala, I'm Prayag. I'm Prayag. Prayag personified. I have a cold. In New Zealand, it was really cold, but it's toasting warm here. I came on the right day. So, Prayag, Nanda Maharaj said, Prayag? I didn't know that anyone in Nandagram had that name. So the big man said, no, I'm not from here. I'm Prayagraj, the king of all tirthas, because it's taken like that, because the Ganga, the Jamuna, Saraswati come together in Prayag, the rivers. It's considered by many people as the king of all holy places. So Nanda Maharaj said, and why have you come here today, Maharaj? So the man said, oh, Baba, all year long people come and put their papa, their sin on me, meaning at that holy place. So one day of the year, on Aksaya Tritiya, I come here to roll in the dust of Braj and bathe in this lake and become Pavana, freed from sin. So Nanda Maharaj was going to go there, but he came here, but Prayag came to him. And Prayag said that people, they're bathing in my waters and they're getting freed from the sin, which is a blessing of Bharat, of India. You can just bathe in a river and become freed from karma, uproot your material desires. But if you want prema, the only river that gives prema is Jamuna. Because Jamuna is an expansion of Vishaka, and she's very kind, merciful. So they all come. So I've come here to this lake to become Pavana. So Nanda Maharaj said, oh, really? He was like, then why I don't have to go anywhere. Then he looked on the other side of the lake and he suddenly saw many beautiful ladies bathing. Beautiful ladies, but they weren't like the Nandagram ladies. These ladies had very beautiful silk saris with gold and silver threads. You know, life in Braj is very simple. So he'd never seen ladies like that. What? This special personality, Prayag, has come to bathe here in my lake. And there's all these ladies on the other side. Who are these ladies? So I went to their side, he respectfully said, ladies, who are you? Do you want to hear the reply? One said, Baba, I'm Ganga. Another said, I'm Saraswati. Another said, I'm Godavari. And they all responded with different names of holy rivers. I'm Kudu Jangala, I'm Kuveri, I'm Narmada, I'm Brahmaputra, I'm Mahananda, I'm the Kali Gandaki. It's like Nanda Maharaj says, but why have you all come here today? I've never seen any of you before. They replied, all year long, people come to us to bathe in our waters, and they give their sins. We accept them. But one day of the year, on Akshaya Tritiya, we come here to roll in the dust of Braj and bathe in this lake to become Pavana, pure. Haribo! So then Nanda Maharaj, he said, I'm not going anywhere. They all come in here. So he took his bath in the lake. Then he went up the hill to Nandagram. And by this time, Krishna was awake. He said, Pita, you were going to go to Prayag to bathe. What are you doing here? So he said, no, Nanda Maharaj said, no, Lala, I'm not going. Krishna said, why not, Baba? So Nanda Maharaj replied, all the places I wanted to go, they all came here to take bath and become Pavana, purified. So why should I take the trouble to go all to these places? They all come here. So from that day forth, the lake has been called Pavana Sarovara. Shri Pavana Sarovara ki. And this brings to mind that actually it's described by Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur that all the holy places are in their origin or in their original form in Braj. I learned that a bit late because I traveled, myself, Alanath Prabhu, we went to Kali Gandaki a couple of times. We've traveled, throughout India, different places, and I'm glad that we have. But it's interesting to note that all these, Sri Rangam, Tirupati, even Puri, everything, all these holy places are in Braj. They have their origin in Braj. How to find them? That's another thing. To do some more research. But there's 60 billion holy places in Braj. So we need not go anywhere else. Braj is our home. That's where we want to have our eternal residence, and full of all these wonderful pastimes and stories. So I'm glad that I came on this particular day and could share with you the glories of Akshaya Tritiya. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Go Premanande.